Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brocco Fast. As you can see, we have the beautiful, the lovely, the 2018 Shelby GT350R in front of you. And today is the 6-month review. And I know some people are going, 6-month review, really? But honestly, that's when you start to find out everything you know about your car, right? When you first get it, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I got my first, oh, it's so great, woo! As it starts going on, about 2-3 months, you start getting acquainted with it. You start washing it, find all the little nicks, find this, find that. And after 6 months, you've lived with the car, you've driven the car, you've had the ability to do different things, whether it's shows or tracks or really just drive the car. And as you can see, my Shelby GT350R is dirty. You know why? Because I drive my car. I drive it. I put 2,000 miles on this car in 6 months of ownership, and I wouldn't regret a mile. This car is absolutely fantastic, but there are some things that you do pick up that are a little frustrating, but they're this big because you know what? This car is gorgeous. And as you can see, after 6 months of ownership, I am still in love with the way this car looks. It's beautiful. That aggressive front splitter, this beautiful hood. I love that it's white with no stripes. It took me forever to find that. That was a big thing for me. The carbon wheels still look good. Every time I go and park this car, I look back and go, wow, this is a sexy car. This is a sexy car. And after 6 months of ownership, that hasn't faded away. I still love the way this car looks. If I had to nitpick a little bit, as far as the exterior on this car, I would say that the paint's a little soft. This car's ceramic coated, does very well. I tried to wash it with only the best products, and I blow dry it dry, but I will say the paint is a little soft, but that's okay. A lot of sports cars that I find out do have some soft paint. The other thing that I have found out, if you are on a gravel road, this little area right here, this will pick up rocks. It'll pick up just little things here and there. So when you park your car, you'll actually look in the garage and go, oh my gosh, there's actually rock buildup in there. That's so weird. And you hear it, and it's because these Michelin Cup 2 tires are so sticky. And I can tell you that they are probably the best bang for buck street track tire that you're going to get. They are a little expensive, but that's because you are getting a phenomenal tire. I wouldn't go in the rain, like hardcore rain with these, because they can be a little sketchy. But hey, a lot of us aren't driving our GT350Rs in the pouring rain. Now, I did get caught in a storm during a rally, and to be honest, the car did great. We were doing 45, 50 miles per hour. I stayed out of puddles, and it did awesome. These tires are summer tires. If you're daily driving this car, get some 4S's, get some Hancooks. I would try to shoot for a stickier tire because that's what this car is all about. But I love the way it still looks. So now we come to the rear of this car. Obviously, it's still beautiful, but there's one thing I wanted to show you about the ergonomics of owning a Shelby GT350R that I think are spectacular. First, we know this car comes with a rear seat delete. I added in my own GT350 rear seats, all OEM, and I wanted my son to ride with me. That's something that a lot of sports cars can't do. Can't do that in a GT3, can't do that in a Ferrari. My son gets to go with me, and he's only 5, and that's something that him and I get to share. But there's something other that is very special with the Shelby GT350R that a lot of sports cars can't do. You want to go on a date night? Sure. You want to go golfing? Great. You want to go to Publix, pick up some groceries? Yeah, you got it. You want to put golf clubs in the back? Yeah, definitely. That's what makes this car so versatile to be your supercar, your sports car daily driver. And let me show you how big this trunk is. Yeah, oh yeah. It's just like coming out of the birth canal, but opposite. Bam. Can't do that in a Porsche. Can't do that in a McLaren. Like to see you do this in a Lamborghini, Ferrari, even the new Corvette. That's right. That's what makes this car so special. That's what makes this thing keep up with all the fast sports cars, but still get to put golf clubs in the back or a Brocco Fast. I don't know. Look, I know this is one of my favorite parts, but this exhaust, listen to this exhaust. All right, we are in the Shelby GT350R. And before we get started on the interior, as you can tell, it is just so comfortable in here. It feels like home for me. It just works for me. It feels great. It is the perfect size for me. So talking about the interior, this suede steering wheel has been resilient. It has been really, really good. I try not to touch it all the time. I try to wash my hands when I do before I touch it and get in it. But the suede steering wheel just feels so good in your hands. It really does. It's soft. It's nice. It's really stood up for a lot of things. And the seats have been great. My wife's comfortable in them. I'm comfortable in them. And it's been really, really, really phenomenal. And one thing that I did as far as the interior, I added back seats. I added back seats so my little guy can go with me in the car. And that's important to me. It's probably important to anyone that's a parent out there and wants to be able to take their little one for a ride. Well, safety first. Seatbelts on. Let's get ready to hit the best button that a car can have. Oh yeah. Sounds absolutely spectacular. For me, when I get in the car, I rarely use normal mode. I do if my wife's in the car, but she's not in it very often. So I use normal, so it's a little softer, but I always turn the exhaust on. So just for the sake of things, we are going to go into sport mode. Oh yeah, it still gets me, and it will get you over and over and over again. And that's something that just does not get old with this car, is that exhaust. That exhaust from factory on an R is just spectacular. So we're in sport mode. Let's get rolling. Oh, it's phenomenal. That sound is phenomenal. And like I said, that's something that you won't get over. I don't care who you are. I've had this car for 6 months and I just don't get over that sound. And that downshift, oh man. Go under a tunnel, go next to a wall or a fence, and it's so good. It's just so good. It's so good. And you know, let's talk about ease of driving, right? First, ease of driving, that's a good point. So the ease of driving this car is not like the supercars or other cars that it competes with. Some of those cars beat you up a little bit, they make you work for it, and not that this doesn't, but if you're just wanting to drive around, go on a date night, take it easy, this car's easy. You know, you want to go play golf and come home and put the AC on and just cruise, you can do it. There's plenty of room in the trunk, and there's just plenty of comfort inside. I'm used to modded cars, so it doesn't ride like a Cadillac, but I'm used to modded cars. This is pretty soft compared to that. The difference is when you're ready to turn it on and you're ready to actually use this car, it comes to the table with spades. I mean, it's phenomenal. It is really cool. The steering's precise. It's just weighted enough. The suspension just sets a minute and it hugs. You won't believe the amount of grip that this car truly has. And as far as the other things with the interior, some things that have kind of been bothering me after 6 months of ownership, I would say, oh man, told you it doesn't get old. But after 6 months of ownership, there's a few things that really bother me in the interior. And honestly, the plastic, it's okay. There's some spots that don't bother me at all, but there's some spots that are very Ford. The glove box, you know, this part, the dash, everything is really nice and they did a good job here, but then you look at the glove box and it's just this big hunk of plastic. It's kind of disappointing. The other thing that I don't know if some of you owners have found out or are looking, any Mustang owner right now, what do you do with your wallet, your keys? Do you leave them in your pocket? No, because I'll be George Costanzing over here in this seat. There's no place to put them. It doesn't fit in this little tray. The cup holders, well, if you want to drink, well, that goes out. So my phone and wallet have to go in this little cubby down here. I don't really like it. You just got to shove them down in there and hope you don't go too fast that it shoots in the back of the door and gets lost. The tray right here is just really small. It wasn't made to like hold anything but change or put a cord in. And the cup holders, let me tell you this, I use a 30-ounce stainless steel tumbler, just like a lot of people do. That is way too big for these cup holders. Does it fit? Yes, it fits. But then you shift like this and you're shifting around it, it just doesn't work. So I have to get a smaller cup or not bring a cup at all. And to me, I always like having a little bit of water on my with me or whatnot, and it's just it was made not to have cup holders. Really, that's just the worst spot that they could have put them in. So those are a couple things that kind of bother me as far as the interior. That doesn't bother me. Oh God, that doesn't bother me. That's never gonna get old. It doesn't get old. 8,250 RPM red line. And everybody stares. What is that? I hope it comes through in this camera, because the excitement that I get every time I hit that gas pedal is next level. It's next level. I just cannot believe it. Woo! Gives me chills. But obviously that's my favorite thing about this car, is the motor, the engine, the sound, the feel, the transmission. This transmission is so, it sounds so weird. It knows what you want to do at all times. It's silky smooth, but notchy, because it's smooth. You can do that, but you feel it. You feel it go into gear. You know, so it's just one of those things. And you can see with the motion, it's boom, boom, boom. So it's the only way I can describe it, is just silky smooth but notchy, because it lets you know that you're in that gear. And it just pairs with this engine so much. Ford did such a great job with that. They made sure that no matter what gear you're in, you got a little bit of power. And when you're rowing through those gears, you always are in the right power band. There is no fall off. I've been in turbo cars where it falls off. I've been in all motor cars where you actually go to shift, boom, you hit the gear, and you could half a second, quarter second before it really gets going. Where this car, the minute you shift, boom, you're in the power range, in the power range, in the power range. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And the brakes have been really, really good. They're very strong. I will say the pads don't last too long, and they're extremely dusty. You saw how dirty my car is as far as the wheels. I've taken it out once. That was one day of driving. So the pads do get a little dusty, which can be a real pain in the butt if you want to keep your car clean. Sometimes I worry on the way back from Cars and Coffee, or the way to Cars and Coffee in the morning when I want to do that, the car is going to be filthy by the time I get there as far as the wheels. But I guess that's the price you pay to have good pads on the car. So another point I want to bring up is miles per gallon. Miles per gallon's not bad if you can keep your right foot out of it. On the highway, I'm getting 20 plus. Around town, I think I'm averaging like 17 when I drive it easy. But this is a car you don't really worry about it. You're not really worried about miles per gallon. You're worried about smiles per gallon, and that's what this thing produces. The other crazy thing that a lot of us GT350R owners go through is there's a lot of people who don't drive them. Sometimes it's hard with the values that are out there and the values that are going up. Well, if I drive it, I put more miles on it, it's decreasing the value of the car. Yes, but why did you buy the car? You bought the car because you loved it. You bought the car because it was cool. You bought the car because you wanted to drive it. And that's a big thing, but I get it. I also go through the whole value to miles perspective, because that is something that's on my mind and the way the market is. And it's something that I got to be cognizant of, but I really don't, because I don't want to. I mean, I had the time of my life just driving around, 10 miles right now, getting to talk to you guys about how cool this car is and why I enjoy it. Shall we? Yes! Oh my gosh, I told you, the car's a blast. Do yourself a favor, go drive one, go rent one, go find one, and take a test drive. If you can find one, just that will put a smile on your face and take money out of your pocketbook every single day. Oh, so on with the review. That brings me to another thing, emptying your pocketbook, right? So 6 months of ownership, I am in love with this car. I'm absolutely in love with this car. I look at it every day. It is something that I've wanted for years and years and years and years and years. I've wanted this car. I have it. I got lucky. I bought at the right time. I bought 6 months ago. COVID was kind of hitting hard, so people weren't spending money. People didn't have money to spend. Dealers didn't know anything about this car market. The GT350R is a special market, and dealers seem to think it's a 350. It happens all the time. Oh, that's just the GT350. So they priced it accordingly. I got lucky. I napped up this car. It was exactly how I would expect it, except I wanted the black roof. But anyhow, I got a great price on it. And if you've noticed lately, the prices of GT350Rs have gone through the roof. Supply and demand, they are gone. You cannot find one. There is only one for sale within 500 miles of Tampa, and it's a 2020 used, and they want $89K for it, which is above sticker. That made me start thinking, wow, these aren't around very much. Ford announced that we're not going to make these anymore. So, okay, people are going, this could be the last of the V8s. Then they say we're going all electric. Boo on you. And then the GT500 comes out. Well, the GT500, while it's a really fast car and a cool car, and man, is it capable, it lacks soul. It lacks the ability to do that or that. And it just, I think it's just lacking what people want in a car. And I think most GT500 owners, from what I've seen, that have owned GT350s or Rs, have all sold their 500s and gone back to an R. Now the guys with the handling pack, the carbon fiber handling pack, that might be a different story, because that is a crazy, crazy car. But again, it still lacks a little soul. I believe it was Speed Phenom got his GT500 carbon pack, handling pack, and just really wasn't for him. He loved his R. And that's what we're finding. So crazy enough, I've actually have this car for sale right now. I don't really want to do it. I don't really want to sell it because I really love this car. But the return on investment is pretty good right now. And during our economic times, it's a little wild out there. And if I have the chance to put money in the bank, a substantial amount of money in the bank after 6 months of ownership, I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't I do that? It just seems like a smart decision. And that's just for me. Now, I might just hang on to this car because I absolutely love it, and it just, as you can see through this video, I just keep smiling and laughing, and it does everything that I want it to do. But that's really hard for me not to overcome the ability to make some money and maybe build another project. I do really, really, really miss racing. I really miss that. So that is something that has got me thinking, while the market's hot, sports cars in general are through the roof, and it's just a good time because I'm in a good place with this car, and I've got to bring a lot of content to everybody. But to be honest, I love this thing. I can't say it enough. The other gripe that I have as we're driving, because as you can tell, I don't have the radio on, I don't have the air conditioning on. I drive this car with the windows up, or windows down, and the sweet, sweet, sweet sound of this exhaust. And that's all I need to hear. Mostly because Ford really dropped the ball on the sound system in this car. Now, the 19s and 20s got a killer sound system with the tech package. The 18s, 16s, 17s didn't. The music, the sound, it's just terrible. So do yourself a favor, listen to the exhaust, not the radio. But other than that, I mean, it has been a crazy cool car. If you don't have one, go test drive and buy it. If you do have one, you know what I'm talking about. And if you have one and you're not driving it, go drive it. Drive this car. Drive this car. It doesn't put a smile on your face sitting in the garage. It just doesn't. It's driving it that puts the smile on your face. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's my 6-month review on this car. I want to be as honest as I can be for all of our viewers out there to know what it's like to own this car and what I appreciate about this car. So thank you again. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, join the Brock Go Fast team, and enjoy the ride. I'll see you on the next one. Brock Go Fast.